Welcome to Car Talk, where we talk everything about car. Today, let us talk about this, the Jaecoo J7. If you notice, or do you not, there's plenty of these on the road right now. Let's find out what it is about. So let's talk about Jaecoo. Jaecoo is what? What is Jaecoo? So even though there's plenty of the road right now, a lot of people will remember it as, why the car look like Range Rover one? No, it's not a Range Rover. Jaecoo, as the name suggests, it's actually two names or two verbs combined together. Jaeger, a German word for hunter. For those who are into Pacific Rims or Attack on Titan, you will know Jaeger, a German word. Then cool, C-O-O-L. If you know English, you know it's a very fancy word or a very 90s Y2K word to describe something that are nice. So Jaeger, cool, combined, Jaecoo. So this is it. Then what is a Jaecoo? In other words, it's another cherry, just a fancier cherry. Jaecoo and Omoda belong to the same brand under Cherry. Jaecoo take care of the rugged part and Omoda take care of the young part. This J7 is the first ever product from Jaecoo since 2023. And when it introduced in Malaysia, a lot of people be like, wow, why this car look like Range Rover one? And all in a sudden, you see plenty of them on the road. For me, I saw a lot of them all in a sudden, no matter in Street Petaling or in KL. Suddenly, everybody is just getting into this. And today, we will find out what it is about. And before we go through all the introduction of this car, the history, the trivia, I will share with you three things that I don't like about this car. First thing I don't like about this car, or should I say there's something that I have strong opinion about, is the fit and finish, the quality of the plastic, the interior component quality. So you can see that the fit and finish is not so nice. Some part of it, you can see the gap is somewhat obvious here. Okay, you might call me nitpicking, but you can see the gaps here is a little bit big and wide, so it doesn't feel nice to touch. You can feel there's an obvious gap here. Okay, point number one. So the second thing I do not like about this car personally is how you adjust the volume and how you adjust the aircon. So for the driver's seat, you have your steering here. If you wanted to adjust the infotainment, so due to copyright issue, I'm not able to play music, but here you can adjust the volume here. You can see that. Okay. So you have this for the driver, but for the passenger, how? You see all of this here, big screen, and there's something to twist here, but this is not for the volume, this is for the driving mode. Okay.
Normal mode.
So how do you adjust the volume? So if you go the left side, oh no, it's not the left side, it's on the right hand side, and this bar is for you to adjust the volume. So I feel the weather is a little bit hot right now. I want to adjust the aircon, and there's nothing about aircon. There's only one on and off button here. So how you adjust the aircon? You go up here, then you need to go here. So you need to adjust this, get the blower here. So for me, as a passenger, I think it's alright. But when you are driving, don't you feel that it's a little bit annoying? So let's talk about the third point that I do not like about this vehicle is all the squeaky weird noise that comes out from the interior. So upon a closer investigation, closer observation, I noticed it's because the leather of this car and also some of the plastic components are rubbing all together. So for example, this part is actually rubbing the center armrest, so you have this squeaky noise. You can hear that. Then when you adjust the seat position, you will hear some squeaky noise. Other than that, is there any other flaws that I particularly don't like about this car? Maybe the steering is a little bit offset to the left, and that's all. Let's move on to the actual introduction of this vehicle if you are still watching. Let's go. So if you are still here after I nitpicking about this car on 3 points that I do not like about this car, let's move on to the actual introduction of this vehicle, the Jaecoo J7. So for the Jaecoo J7, ever since it introduced in Malaysia at 2023, it quickly became one of the top selling SUV in Malaysia, surpassing CX-5 and very closely matched with our own Proton X70 and the all-time almighty god tier SUV, the Honda CR-V. So after all that, you look at the exterior design, you look at the specification sheet, and you know why it's take over Malaysia with a stop. It has the horsepower and the torque that exceed almost all of its competitor. It has the interior space that puts CX-5 into a shape. It has a trendy exterior and a high-tech interior. It actually aim at all the weak point of the mainstream Japanese competitor and also of our Proton X70 in that sense, and pinpoint it, shoot them down. So you know that this car is something some. You see plenty of them on the road. So are you ready to go into details with me? Let's find out. So for the exterior design, Jaecoo is actually penned by Chery's own chief designer. The name is Steven Yeum, if I pronounce it correctly, because he's a Korean American. And previously, he has been a chief designer under GM, General Motors, Ford, and Hyundai. Then after that, this is one of his main product under Chery Jaecoo Omoda. So a lot of people look at it and say its exterior looks like, feels like, and inspired by Range Rover. You are not wrong. But because this car mainly follows the principle of the two-box design philosophy. So what is the two-box design philosophy? Have you ever doodled a car when you are a kid before? You will always doodle a car by a big rectangle, a small rectangle, and two tires. So this is exactly the design. And if you look at it, it's very clean, without any hint of extra fanciness. And basically, that's what Range Rover is about too. So, is it imitation the best form of factory, or is it because due to the design philosophy, everybody designed the same thing? I will let you to judge yourself. I'm not here to become a beauty contest judge. I'm here to tell you it is what it is. So, let's go through the exterior design details of this vehicle, since you know about the design. So let's talk about the exterior design of this vehicle, the Jaecoo J7. As I have mentioned earlier, this car is inspired by, or a lot of people think it looks like Range Rover, but to be honest, there are some details that are not as Range Rover as it should be. So you can see the bonnet itself is not a clamshell bonnet as of all the other Range Rover. It's a signature piece for Range Rover, but for this it's not. Then let's look at the grille. The grille of Jaecoo J7. Jaecoo officially called it the waterfall grille, whatever that means. Then you have this design element, DRL. This is actually DRL, not the front headlight. The front headlight is at here. And you also have a small fog light here. So for this, it does look like a checkered flag. All you can say is a design element. And this design element doesn't only appear here. The same language is applies on the rear light and also the puddle light. We will demonstrate it later. You have this waterfall grille, and look at the rather simple front fascia with an almost vertical front bumper. There is an air vent here that connected to here, so some aerodynamic design feature is being applied. Jaecoo did not share what is their official CD figure, but I believe this is something that they do to reduce the turbulences and the tire noise. Then you have this lower grille here with the radar, but I do not think here have radar. It's not connected, I think. Yep, no, it's not the radar. It's not connected. After we talk about the front design, you can see a very upright bonnet and a very clean bonnet line. Just one and two, a very flat bonnet where you can play ping pong on it. No problem, it's flat. Then you look at the side profile of this car. Again, it followed the clean philosophy. There's nothing fancy about this car. You have a very wide and curvy signature line here that goes all the way to the back. This one. And some disappear, go into here. And this is the only obvious line on the side profile. Then other than that, you have this wheel well. If you choose other color other than black, maybe the silver or white, you will notice this, but for black you did not notice much. This is the anti-scratch cladding. Then you have this line here to further enhance the wheel well. You only have one small signature line here, and that's it. A very clean side profile. You will notice this is very short, the front overhang, and the rear overhang is also rather short. This is because this car is designed with light off-road in mind. So by doing this, pushing the tires into the corner, you can actually achieve a rather good aperture and departure angle. So you can see this. Yeah, light off-road, no problem. I don't have the figure though. I'm trying to find out how many degrees, but for looking at this, at least 40 degrees is not a problem. Same to the rear. Then you will also notice that this car does have a rather high ground clearance. According to the official figure from Jaecoo, about 200mm of them. This is an A5 size notebook, and you can see. Jaecoo J7, it can go to light off-roading without any problem, which is selling point for some other brand SUV. It can do it also. So to continue on the theme, you can see that the air pillar is rather steep. The rake angle is rather steep to create a rather sleek front windscreen angle. Then this goes up and all the way go down on a very clean line. And with an actual usable roof rack, C-pillar and also D-pillar here to create the invisible roof design. It's a very sleek looking car without any fancy elements. The sound design, small feature here but not much. For me, I think one of the most easily ignored part of the design feature on Jaecoo J7 is this. Okay, this chamfered design. So you can see that, or fillet, or chamfered. I think it's fillet. Okay, if you use SolidWorks, you will know what I'm saying. So here it's quite wide, and all the way it become more narrower, and all the way to the front. So it creates a fat rear end and a slim front end. I wouldn't call it an ugly car. It does have some design feature. It's a very clean design car. I believe most consumer has already decided that this is a car that are good looking. But for me, it's good looking not because of a Range Rover-like exterior. It's because of a very simple design. They are not overly complicating. When we talk about the rear design of this car, you will see that this is the third brake light. For some reason, here is nothing. It's not a one-piece design. Then you have this another one-piece design, rear light, and with the checker flag design elements, you can see it's very unique. Pixelated, red, white, red. Okay, then you have a Jaecoo wording here, a flat tailgate, and here have one reflector, one piece bumper with thick exhaust vents. Unfortunately, the exhaust is actually at here. Still, I don't think consumer nowadays care about this. So this is the key of Jaecoo J7. As you can see, it's rather big. It's almost the size of my thumb. I'm not sure why they do it this big. Maybe because of the protective cover, whatnot. Okay, standard Jaecoo key or cherry key, whatever. They do not come with a smart application, as far as I know. It does come with a remote start and remote open boot function. Yep, take some time. Does it have the leg kick open? No. Does it have, or the swipe open? No. You still need to use this, or either the button at the boot here. Okay, so other than the remote control on button or boot open button, you also can approach the car like this. Yeah, so you do not need to take off your key. When you're near the car, it will automatically open. Granted, you have the key with you. So let's look at the boot volume here. The boot volume, if you look at the number, it's actually smaller than Honda CR-V. Honda CR-V has about 500 litre each. For this is about 470 litre each. Of course, the rear seat bench can be folded to expand more volume. Then let's talk about one small design feature that I like about the boot. It's very satisfying for those with OCD. So when you look at the boot, there's plenty full of hooks. Because Jaecoo J7 is intended to be a lifestyle vehicle for those who go to camping, hiking, whatnot. Okay, so you can see plenty of tapao hooks here. There's two hooks here. Okay, then there's this camping hook for you to hook on your sunshade, whatever. Okay, then you have this handlebar here. Then you have this tonneau cover. No surprise there. And this tonneau cover is of course detachable. Not much of an issue there. Okay, then what I mentioned about the part that make OCD guys satisfied is this. So usually for this, okay, you need somewhere else to store it or place it temporarily when you are trying to access the spare tire. Oh yeah, guys, by the way, this car does come with a full-size spare tire. You can see it here, and even come with the same tire, the GT Comfort 225, with the rim included. So for this, we can store it here, and it fits perfectly fine. You have this cutting here, so it put it here just like an extra tabletop. Okay, not just this. For these two, it's the same. Yeah, it fits just alright. You will notice that actually the designer thought this through, and good job, Jaecoo. So underneath this multi-spoke diamond cut rim, it's a front McPherson strut suspension and rear multi-link suspension. No surprise there. And this car uses traditional damper and spring, so there's no such thing like CDC, like the Omoda C9 or electronically adjustable suspension. No, it's just good old damper and spring suspension inside on four corners. Then underneath this 19-inch wheel, which is standard across the range, no matter you buy the front-wheel drive variant or the all-wheel drive variant, is this 23550R19 tires, wrapped in GT Comfort 225 tires. So it's not really good, not really bad in the standard. And even notice, this is something that Chinese manufacturer like to do. It comes with red painted caliper yaw, all for the namesake of being sporty in all four corners. It depends on your own preferences. Is it overkill or do you like it that way? Anyhow, everybody is almost doing it nowadays. No matter it's Proton X50 or Omoda 5 or this, everybody is doing this nowadays. So underneath the engine bay, you can see there's a hydraulic strut, fancy. It's a 1.6T GDI engine, named suspiciously similar to some of our local product. It's a 1.6 litre turbo engine, mated with a 7-speed, wet clutch, dual clutch transmission, which is important. If we look at the design of the engine, the hot side is on the firewall side. That's the turbo. Then the intake is actually here. The intake boxes here. So how much power does this engine produce? 197 horsepower and 290 Nm of torque. which is the highest across the range. Of course, you need to exclude the CX-5 2.5 liter turbo flagship variant. When you compare to the Proton X70 with the 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine, X70 is short of almost 30 horsepower. X70 only have 177 horsepower, 255 Nm of torque. Then how about the almighty Honda CR-V 1.5 liter turbo? So for the Honda CR-V 1.5 liter turbo, this is also more powerful than that. For CR-V, it's 190 horsepower and 243 Nm of torque. A few horsepower shy and a couple about 30 Nm less. So yeah, this engine does pack a punch. So we have go through the exterior design quirks, the boot size, okay, and also the mechanical suspension, the drivetrain. There's something that worth mentioning on the chassis, that this car uses high strength steel. So that's what Chery or Jaecoo officially announced it. And the ABC pillar altogether, it can withstand 8 tons of pressure on top of the roof. So theoretically speaking, you can park another Jaecoo J7 and another Jaecoo J7 and another Jaecoo J7, so 3 of them stacked on top of it. And theoretically speaking, as per what Jaecoo suggested, it should be safe because 8 tons, yeah. One of these is about 2 tons, so you can stack about 3 to 4 Jaecoo J7 on top of this Jaecoo J7, and it will not bend or change the shape of ABC pillar. Again, that's just theoretically. Let's talk about the interior and the driving position of this car. The screen, okay, you can see this. This is actually the main party piece of Jaecoo J7. And among all the friends that I know about, when we talk about the Jaecoo J7, they are all impressed by this screen. How big is this screen? It's as big as 14 inches plus. That's massive. Okay, and in this screen, what function that you can access? Technically, everything about the car. This is the largest Apple CarPlay that I have ever seen in my life. You can see that the map, the ways, everything is here. This is the main screen of the Jaecoo J7 screen, and you can go to the vehicle center and adjust everything. Because of the size of the screen, all the buttons is immensely big. It's almost as big as a 50-cent coin, if you know what I meant. You can go to the vehicle setting and adjust almost everything here. And you can see that the driver assistance, everything can be on and off, on and off, on and off. So there's millions of ADAS here. You have this ICC, integrated cruise assist, or intelligent cruise control. You have the overspeed warning, okay, intelligent avoidance assistance, front collision warning system, autonomic emergency brake AEB, okay, reverse emergency braking, where with the rear cross traffic alert, lane departure warning, and all the stuff. You also have something called door opening warning. So for the rear door, when the passenger trying to open the door, if there's car coming from behind, they have this red color warning and it stops you from opening the door. So it's a good thought. Everything can be adjusted here. But again, it's only on and off. You cannot fine tune how much you want or how sensitive you want. Then you go to the ambient light. Yeah, this is a very Chinese car thingy. You can musical rhythm or link to driving mode. Everything can be adjusted here. Vehicle comfort, so you can adjust the driving seat position here and save it as your memory seat. But again, I did not see the mode driver 1, 2, 3 here. It does not memorize who is the driver. Oh yeah, it also came with a seat portable entry and exit. So when you open the door, the seat will reverse to the rear, so it's easier for you to ingress and egress. You can adjust the seat here, you can save it here. More like a fancy feature. Other than that, not much to be talked about in the screen. Yes, you do have a big screen. It's powered by a very powerful Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. According to the official statement, it does come with OTA function. But there's not much application, or there's not much toy to play with in here. It does come with this built-in dash cam. So this is actually the built-in dash cam. So you do not need to spend extra budget on installing dash cam. But take note, yeah, this is only the front. Rear don't have this. So you need to install a rear dash cam if you prefer to have a more comprehensive coverage. And other than that, there's not much to talk about. Just a built-in map. And you also have a built-in user menu with a very poorly translated English. Still, this is a Chinese car. What do you expect? There's also one thing that can be adjusted in this car, which is the driving mode here, or the screen. This is something that I prefer because it does have the RPM meter here. Easier for me to read and indicate what is the engine response in each RPM sectors. So you have this with a more high-techy design, and it does looks very similar to BYD for some reason. I do not know why, but it's actually very BYD in a way. Oh yeah, it also comes with a wireless Apple charger here. So when you talk about the ergonomics, you can see it's a very vast cabin, and here have some soft touch leather. This is actually quite not soft, it's quite rough, but still leather nonetheless. And here also, I think this is a waterproof material leather here. So you can feel that this car, when your elbow is touching, everything is a soft point material. And surprisingly, the ergonomics, alright, the seat is very comfy, very big. You can see inside the car, but everything that your skin touches is on soft point material other than me. With a hard plastic here, then when your hand lay on it, it's easy on the gear knob and everything is within reachable. However, there's one thing that worth mentioning is this. When you do the belly button check, the steering is still offset slightly to the left. It makes it easier to turn right corner than left corner because left corner it just feels a little bit disturbing. But still, that's just me. And also have a very nice head-up display. But this head-up display mainly displays only speed, range of the petrol, remaining range left, and also the working status of the ICC. So it does have plenty of sensors and what is the lane keeping assist doing job, and that's about that. Overall, what I can say, this is still a very typical Chinese vehicle. Nothing much to shout about, but nothing much to complain about either. So one thing that worth mentioning about this car is the platform of this vehicle. So this car does come with a PHEV variant and also a normal petrol variant. So the floor plan is slightly higher compared to usual car because they need to reserve some space for the installation of battery. But despite that, the ingress, egress and everything about the rear seat is surprisingly okay. So you can see I entered the car quite effortlessly. The door opening is quite wide. It's almost 90 degree, definitely not 90 degree, but almost. Some minor complaint I have because of the high floor panel is I cannot keep my leg inside the below the front seat, but that's alright. And you have this aircon vent here, USB-C, USB-A, a coin box here. This rear seat is surprisingly cozy, and you also have a sunroof there to reduce the claustrophobicness. You have a lot of headroom here. It's very wide and come with a very nice armrest and same material, same door panel to the front door. So you have also this soft touch material here. For those who are sitting at the front seat, they like to do this. And it's a very nice place to rest your elbow on. For the rear seat, it's very nice, very cozy. You can sit like this, not much of a problem. And it also comes with this seat angle adjustment. There's multiple angle to be adjusted with. It's a very comfy rear cabin. For me, I feel like I prefer this rear cabin than the Omoda C9 for some reason. It's indeed very cozy, very nice. Then you have this cup holder here. I'm not sure what they did to the rear cabin, but apparently this rear cabin is one of the best rear cabin that I have sit in for Chinese vehicle. The seat is very comfortable. Not much support though. It's very flat, but it does not stop from being a very comfortable rear seat. If you are going for a long journey on this rear seat, I wouldn't complain, and I would actually prefer to sit on the rear seat and let somebody else drive the car. But enough about that. Let's drive the car and feel how the car feels like to be driven in. For the rear seat, if you are buying a car with the intention of pampering your family, your friends, your kids, and rear seat is your main concern, I can see why you purchase this car over all the other main competitor. Because this rear seat is indeed quite a pleasant place to stay. Yeah, let's drive the car. Let's talk about the driving experience of this Jaecoo J7 1.6 liter turbo. So on paper, this car does have the highest numbers compared to all the competitors. No matter it's Subaru Forester or CX-5 2.5 NA. Not the 2.5 turbo, definitely not. That's still the top tier among the range. Or the Honda CR-V 1.5 liter turbo, not the RS. The RS is the 2.0 liter HEV. That is compared to PHEV of this, so another different story. And also our local X70. And if you look at the number, this car actually wins in every department. The highest number of torque, the highest number of horsepower, then you have 7 speed of gears, whatnot. So how does it feel like to drive in a day-to-day condition? I would say it's not too bad, but I would be lying if I say it's very good. Comparatively, it's already okay if you don't have much requirement on driving. But let me tell you why. So in the day-to-day driving environment, it's okay, but the car does feel a little bit heavy to start from the get-go. Maybe because what we are driving right now is the all-wheel drive variant where the engine need to take care of 2 more tires at the rear. The front-wheel drive variant does not need to propel the rear wheel. Or maybe because Chery is trying to prolong the longevity of the gearbox, so they try to make it last longer, hence less aggressive gear shift. Then the suspension of this vehicle surprisingly is on the hard side, not on the soft side. So I'm going through some rather bad road condition now. You can see from the image the car is actually having a little bit of bumps and jolts. It's not until too harsh, but you may begin to question why this car, despite of its selling point, the target market of being comfortable, yet it does have this the vehicle dynamic. So the suspension is definitely not soft, not supple, slightly on the hard side, but the benefit of this is when you are going in a highway at high speed, straight line only, as high as 150 km, 160 km per hour, it does feel stable. And granted, with the all-wheel drive of this car, for the all-wheel drive system of this car, for the all-wheel drive variant, you have 7 modes. And to be honest, out of the 7 modes, 4 of them are rather useless in Malaysia environment, unless you have this usage scenario. But for me, I think it's rather useless. What's the 4 modes that are rather useless?
Snow mode.
So,
Mud mode.
mud,
Sand mode.
sand, and off-road.
Off-road mode.
So all of these, out of 7, 4 of them are rather
Sport
useless.
mode.
You have
Normal.
nowhere to use all those modes, and most of the time you'll be staying in Eco, Normal, or Sport. So what's the difference between these 3 modes is the gearbox reactivity when you are trying to accelerate or kick down, and also how fast the throttle responds to the input. We can demonstrate you the main difference between Eco and Sport mode. So on Eco mode, you can see that when I step down the throttle, it does take some time. And when you are driving at the 3rd gear, 4th gear, you try to hunt the highest gear. Let's simulate an environment where you are driving now and you wanted to overtake a car. Yep, I believe I have made my point. The car will hesitate to downshift and accelerate in Eco mode. So when you are in Sport mode, things get better. It's willing to downshift more aggressively, and also it's willing to pick up speed more aggressively. But given that it's not really like a Volkswagen or Porsche, that kind of like I step on the throttle, I shoot, I step on the throttle, I shoot. And granted, we are somewhat spoiled by the instant acceleration of electric motor vehicles back then. So maybe my perception is wrong, but still you can see that this is Eco. You can see it's a bit slow. Then let's go to Sport. It will become faster. So this is standstill. Okay, then let's go. Yep. You can hear that even though it's in Sport mode, the car is not behaving like a DCT gearbox. It's not doing this lightning quick change like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 1, 2, 3. Then you are trying to overtake car, it will be like 3 or 2. So it does take its own tempo to accelerate. And when you're talking about decelerate, the braking, but it does have a very big free play in the initial traveling of the brake pedal. So about the front 30% of it is all empty. You can see this. All of this is empty. So you need to go deeper, then only the brake calipers start to clamp the brake disc. So is it a bad thing? I do not know. It depends on your preferences, on your driving style. But for me, I feel that this can be better. You can feel that the brake pedal free play is a little bit too much. The good news is the brake caliper and the brake pad is quite clampy. You can feel that the brake pad is clamped on the brake, and it's not that difficult to perform linear braking. It's just that the free play is a little too much. So you have a rather relaxed and laid back throttle response. You have a brake pedal that are very big in free play. Then how about the steering? The steering, it's a typical Cherry. It does come with 2 steering mode. It does have this comfort steering mode, and it does have the sport steering mode. So the only difference is how much assistance force it has. One of them is extremely soft, so you can even steer your car with this pinky finger. Okay, and this is actually sport mode, and I still can steer it with my pinky finger. So you can tell that this car is actually aimed for comfort driving. Yet the suspension is not so comfortable. It's on the slightly sporty side and on the harsh side. You need to know what you need to expect on this car. Granted, this car does have a very good basic on suspension. It does have the rear multi-link, it does have the front McPherson strut. The steering rack is okay, not too slow. You can see that with my steering angle, the car start to rotate. It's not too bad. it's just not so good either, which is a very typical Cherry Jaecoo kind of vehicle dynamic. And one thing worth mentioning that on top of the slightly firm suspension setup, especially this all-wheel drive variant, you can feel that the all-wheel drive is actually helping you to gain as much traction in exchange of stability. I have driven this on the highway for the namesake of testing this vehicle. I have driven this at 150 and 160 km/h whatnot, and when I'm going into those long winded corner, I can feel that the car is trying itself to maintain at the trajectory to be as stable as possible. From the steering, I can feel that the vehicle is trying to pull your car out of the corner. There are some times where the car is trying to push you into the corner by diverting more power to the rear wheel. So it depends on your preferences again, but for me, if you wanted to buy a Jaecoo J7 for the namesake of better safety, better driving pressure, and better stability, it's better to go for the all-wheel drive variant. It is actually able to help overcome some of the shortcomings of the suspension tuning. Because of the all-wheel drive availability, not so good yet not so bad suspension setup can be offset and saved by the all-wheel drive system of this vehicle. Is it a really fun car to drive? I would say it's alright. It's definitely not those hot hatch or those cars that point, shoot and go. No, but you can imagine it as a diesel powered with a torquey engine. When we talk about torque, this car does have the peak torque between 2000 to 4000 RPM, so it exactly feels like a diesel engine. Just need to drive it like a diesel powered SUV, then you will be alright. But if you expect some hot hatch level of performance, then this car is not for you. And it's not so smooth either, so it depends on what you want. For me, I think it's alright given the price point. All the product they give you something that Subaru Foresters are famous for, the all-wheel drive. They give you the acceleration, they give you the interior space, they give you the design. Each product weakness is their strength. So they give you everything, jack of all trades. So what more could you ask for?
So let's talk about the conclusion of this vehicle. As I have mentioned earlier, this car is more of a jack of all trades, master of none. But when I say jack of all trades, it means it's actually able to pinpoint all the shortcomings of the vehicle, mainstream vehicle on the market, and they're somewhat able to solve what consumer complain the most about the product. For example, Mazda CX-5, a lot of people complain about the interior space. This car has a bigger interior space than all of them. And another example with Subaru Forester, a lot of people complain about the exterior design and the interior with a smaller screen. This car gives you a very flashy exterior design and also a very flashy interior with big screens. Then Honda CR-V. What's wrong with Honda CR-V? Okay, Honda CR-V is a little bit boring and this car actually able to excite the excitement. And let's talk about Toyota. If you think closely, if you think properly, there's no such product available in market. Toyota used to have something called the Toyota RAV4, and the asking price of that car, if you know how much it costs, you know that it's literally not compatible in this segment. This car able to capture all the bits and pieces and become its own jack of all trades. And I believe most Malaysian consumers, when they are shopping for a vehicle, what they want is something that with the least amount of money and with the most amount of accessories. Surpassing the Mazda CX-5, it is currently the number 3, if not the number 2, top most selling C-segment SUV in Malaysia. So what is the number 1? Proton X70. What is the number 2? Honda CR-V. This is the number 3. And remember, this product only entered Malaysia in 2023, which makes things even more interesting. If you like what we are doing, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, like and share our video. We also have an Instagram and a web page to be followed. Thank you.